In this video, I'm going to share with you the top 5 things and mistakes people worry too much about and how to avoid them. The first mistake I see people making a lot is those people who've worked hard, saved a lot of money, or have raised money from some source, which could be anything from inheritance to having borrowed money from family, friends and associates. And then they're desperate to do a deal. So very simply, using my words, the money is burning a hole in their pocket. So they just think, I've got the money now, let me very quickly do a deal. And when they do that deal, they don't do all their homework properly because they're just so desperate to do a deal because they've got the money there, they just don't know what to do with it. So they think, let me rush into a deal. So I would say, slow down. Just because you've got the money in your bank account or you've got access to the funds, it doesn't mean you need to be rushing into a deal straight away. There's no benefit in that whatsoever. Take your time, do your due diligence, and make sure that you do a deal that works for you. Even if it takes 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, slow it down. Okay, you can catch up with speed later on. Linked to that, the second one is not doing enough research. So this kind of breaks down into 2 areas. The first one is have your criteria, what I call the non-negotiables. So whatever that criteria is, whether it's your gold mine area, the amount of money you invest, the return on income that you're looking on in terms of cash flow, return on investment, capital employed, whatever your criteria is, choose and decide that criteria and then stick to it. Yeah, of course, sometimes a deal comes along where you might have to be flexible on one of your non-negotiables. As long as you don't break them and you're being flexible, fine. But let's say you've got 5 criteria, which are your 5 non-negotiables. If you have to be flexible on every single one, I'd probably say that deal isn't for you. So have your limits in terms of your criteria and then absolutely stick to it. The second then is to do research about that particular area. So if it's a gold mine area, knowing the things that are in that area which are important to you in terms of, I'm going to just make some rough examples for you in terms of you might be catering for parents and families, and therefore having a good local school might be important, or having a school local to the area might be important. Being near a park might be important. Other local amenities might be important because the demographic that you're attracting. So make sure you do that research and then the houses fit the demographic that you're looking to cater for. Because if you're catering for professionals, the criteria is very different to if you're catering for people who have retired, for example, if they're looking for houses. So make sure you do your research, and the more time you spend on research, the better, because research always helps you, not just with that deal, but with all deals going forward, and that's incredibly important. The third one, it happens to all of us, it's happened to me many times. A good deal comes along and for some reason you're not able to secure it, so you miss out on it. And you hear people who basically just cry over that for the next 5 years. Oh, I missed out on that deal. That deal was fantastic. The ROI, return on investment, was brilliant. The cash flow would have been brilliant. The opportunity to build on it or grow it or expand it or extend it would have been brilliant. This was the best deal ever. And then what they do is compare every other deal to that deal, and because in their mind they've elevated that particular deal to make it much better than it is or was, and because they've become emotionally attached to it, at the every other deal just doesn't compare. So if you miss out on a deal, don't worry about it. Treat it like London buses. One's gone, another one's going to come. And sometimes you're waiting there for 3 hours or 2 hours, for example, and a bus might not arrive. I'm exaggerating, but okay, you might be there for a while and a bus might not arrive, and then 3 or 4 come together at once. That's what happens. That's happened to me and to my clients and to my mentees or people who I've mentored many a time. Deals dry up sometimes and then they all come together at once, usually in 3s, by the way, but that happens. So if you miss out on a deal, don't worry about it. There's plenty more in the pipeline that you don't yet know about. Fourth one, again a big major concern for a lot of people, is how can I outsmart the market, and what's the market going to do? Is there going to be a crash? what's going to happen to interest rates, what's going to happen to property prices, all of that stuff. You don't control it, I don't control it. I don't believe any one single person controls it, by the way, and I'm sure you'll agree with that. So do what's right, have your criteria, do your research, make sure it fits, make sure it cash flows, make sure it's in a good area, make sure all the criteria you've set, it works for you, and don't worry about outsmarting the market, because there might be people out there who can outsmart the market. I ain't met them yet, and some of them might claim they've outsmarted the market, but really they haven't, because just because someone's done well in the last 3 or 4 years doesn't mean they know how the market's going to work. Yeah, if someone's done that over the last 30, 40, 50 years perhaps, they might have a particular formula, but I bet you the formula will be they've got their criteria and they stick to it. That's what's working for them. So don't worry about beating the market. Worry about, does the deal work on your criteria? And of course your criteria will change anyhow, but don't get too bogged up with is the market going to crash, our price is going to go up, our price is going to come down, because you don't control that. Why worry about something you don't control? Worry about or think about things that you do control and how you can improve them. Fifth one is we all have to pay our entry fee. The point being, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to lose money. That's just life. Yeah, every single investor I've spoken to, they've been through this. Every single developer I've spoken to, they've been through this. So you're going to lose money. So if you're new to property, just get used to the idea and just be ready for it. When you lose it, you're going to learn a lot from it, because remember, people learn more from their mistakes than they do all their failures. Although I don't call them failures, I call them lessons, but more from their mistakes than they do from their successes. So mistakes are a gift, and always think, what can I learn from it? What can I do to make sure I don't repeat this again? And what can I do as a result to be even better going forward? And if you make, let's say, 2 or 3 mistakes and you lose 100 grand, don't worry about it. As long as it doesn't kill you and bankrupt you, which I hope it won't. Think on the future deals, next 3, 5, 7 years, how can I make up for that 100 grand and some? Because I can tell you, the ones who've made the biggest mistakes and lost a lot of money have gone on to do even better, and they've made up for the money that they lost. So just get used to it. You're going to have to pay the entry fee. So those are my top 5 things that people worry about too much, or where they make mistakes, and if you can avoid them, you'll do well.